Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our fireside chat, where we're actually going to cover AI playbook for agencies and how to scale smarter and how to save time. So, of course, that's the main thing what we want to achieve with AI, right? But of course, not to lose our heads while doing so. And while we are waiting for everyone to join, it would be great if you guys could also just send a quick message to the chats and mention from where you're joining today. That would be great to also have a bit of a understanding, which parts of the world we have people joining. Because even in our fireside side, we have multiple countries and locations joining. So that's also good. So Lars is joining from Netherlands, Robin joining from US, Colorado, and Mike is joining from Missouri in the US, and I'm joining from Vilnius, Lithuania. So, yeah. Oh, right. That's very nice. I see a lot of Denver, Mobile, Maryland, Kansas City, Ireland, more Denver, Denmark, Sweden, superb. Brooklyn, Amsterdam. That's great. Sunny Florida. Oh, Rob, I'm actually very much jealous about sunny Florida. We just actually had a discussion that weather in winter times, especially in Europe, could be better. Could be better, especially in terms of amount of sun we have and everything else. All right. So I think it's another Netherlands. That's great. Oh, Rob is in bathing suit. Hopefully you're not kidding, actually, because it's you should be wasting that moment of sunshine. So all right, but I think we can kick it off. So again, thank you very much for joining for our fireside chat, where we're going to cover a very simple AI playbook for agencies, basically how to scale smarter and how to save time, and of course not lose your head when doing so. So we have great people here, and I think they can also introduce themselves afterwards. So my name is Justus. I'm co-founder and CEO at Watergraph, and we're a marketing intelligence platform which helps marketing agencies to get the data, organize it, visualize, and share with your customers, report, and of course analyze your performance yourselves. And we also have Robin Emiliani joining us from Colorado. So stage is yours, Robin.
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you, Eustace. Nice to see everyone. Hello to my friends in Denver, Colorado. I am in Denver, Colorado as well. And I own a marketing agency here called Catalyst Marketing Agency. And an interesting tidbit about my background is I was former client side. So I was a marketing leader for tech companies for global, I was a global marketing leader. And so had a specialty in demand generation. So I'll talk more about that today. So thank you for everyone for joining.
Amazing. And I think very much fun fact also about Robin that you own also a women-led marketing agency, which is,
Yes,
not very common, but I'm very happy about it. So, I
yes,
think it's great to be proud of that.
yes. Less than 1% of marketing agencies are owned by women.
Exactly.
So fun
Exactly.
fact.
So that's a very great thing and hope that's going to be way more of that. All right. And we have also Lars Maat from Maatwerk Online. So joining us from Netherlands.
Yeah,
Lars, please introduce yourself also.
yeah, thanks for having me, of course. My name is Lars. I'm the co-founder and owner of Maatwerk Online, a digital agency in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands. My background is actually paid advertising. It could be paid social, could be Google Ads, Google Tag Management, analytics. That is really, where my interest lies. And yeah, AI has a huge influence on that part of our business. So happy to join this webinar.
And of course, I think a fun thing about uh, um, Lars to know, I think he's very much into tech and always new things. So I love that thing. But also, I think you should be more proud also that actually Maatwerk Online have won also Dutch Search Awards winner of the best marketing agency in Netherlands last year. So
Yeah,
hopefully you're getting that again this year.
hopefully, yeah. As long as I can remember, it has never happened that an agency won that prize two times in a row. So maybe we could be the first.
Yeah, let's make history, right? All right, and of course we have last but definitely not least, Mike Alton joining us also today from Agorapulse, so our great partner. So Mike, the stage is yours.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Eustace. Thanks to everyone for being here. I'm Mike Alton. I'm the chief storyteller at Agorapulse. We're a social media management tool, and we've been working with agencies for years and years and years. In fact, one of the podcasts that I run at Agorapulse is talking to agency owners, like many of you. And then I also have a personal passion project, another podcast called the AI Hat Podcast. So I am talking to AI aficionados, experts, teachers, authors, practitioners, many of which like yourselves, all the time, and have really immersed myself in AI over the past year. So I'm really excited to just geek out with you guys for a while.
Amazing. So thanks, Mike, for joining. So I hope that we're going to share you a lot of great tips how to actually apply AI. I think everyone knows what AI is. I just really hope about it. So basically, I think it's a great stage in general to start talking about it way more. Of course, we have AI for a few years already, but I think in the latest days, there's a lot of talk about it, how to apply it, how to use it within companies, and especially for agencies. I think this is where going to be our topic the most. And we have been reviewing a bit of a research made by Forrester recently. And fun thing is, about 60% of US decision makers are already using AI within their agencies, and the rest are still exploring. So that's good. That I think in general to explore using is also great. But I think the most interesting part is for what people are using it. So basically 74% are using it for creativity purposes. So basically creating campaigns, creating images or text or something else. Then more than half actually use it for insights from their audiences. So basically summarizing the audiences and the insights from them. And actually another half is from the same bucket, right? And is also using AI to actually summarize and improve and understand their performance. So I think that's great in general to know that agencies are already trying out and using things. But of course, there's still lots of barriers to enter, and a lot of agencies are considering or hesitant to use it because of there is legal liabilities, there's copyrights, there's privacy, lack of experience in most cases, and I think the biggest chunk of people of who responded that why they're still backing a bit up is that 70% of marketers feel a bit overwhelmed by AI and its rapid changes. So I think proper implementation are still awaits a lot because of that. Because sometimes I think we got ourselves thinking, oh, we now have ChatGPT 55.0 or something, and maybe it's going to be 65 or something in a week. And I think we kind of wait for the best moment to start to use it when there's going to be final product. And I think what we want to actually to try to help you guys today is to give you some tips where you can actually start today, and don't wait for that tomorrow. And I think the beauty of it is experimenting, using it, and I think there's going to be a bit more tips by our great panelists today, how to actually use it a bit in your daily lives. So, all right, maybe let's start with the first bit. I think it would be great to know the role of AI in the agency world, and does in general those mentioned challenges resonate with you guys? So I would like to actually start with Robin. What do you think?
Challenges, yes, I think so. We're using quite a few tools here at Catalyst Marketing Agency. And I think some of the biggest challenges we're facing is with clients, actually, and some of their rules and regulations around AI. So making sure that we have clarity up front with them about when we can use it, when we can't use it. And we have some clients that strictly prohibit us from using it. And one of the challenges that we're tackling of late is the clients that actually have AI tools that they are supposed to be using. So we're having to leverage some of those. So just navigating some of that and just getting absolute clarity, and I'll say make it in writing, so that there's no ambiguity about what the rules and regulations are with clients.
Yeah, I think it's actually a very interesting takeaway that sometimes you need to even adjust to the customer's preference, which AI model to use and which ecosystem they appreciate the most. And Lars, do you feel the same or you feel a bit opposite?
Well, I'm a little bit triggered about what Robin mentioned because Robin, you are from the United States. I'm from Europe. You may know that in Europe we really have more regulations about privacy and AI and stuff like that. And like the majority of the, let's say, ChatGPT releases, we are like weeks, if not months, behind the United States because of that. So we are facing different problems about that topic. Uh, but I, but what I'm thinking of in terms of like the biggest how do you say it challenge with AI in at least in our agency is you need to have some people who are willing to take the risk and are trying to be innovative and take the time to explore all the different options. And what I'm trying to push out in the agency is like we could use AI for mainly two purposes. One, of course, for better results for our clients, but the other one is really to be more efficient for ourselves. And then you've got the problem that clients also know that hey, you could do this with AI, or can't you do it with AI and you can do it way faster? So you could scale down on the hours or the monthly fee that we are supposed to pay to you. So that's like another challenge that comes with like the business model that you have. If you are still working with like an hourly fee, or are you working with value-based pricing? Because AI could really change the way that you could look at it, but also how clients look at that.
I think it's very interesting takeaway. Actually, that might I actually haven't thought about it, but I think it might be an interesting trend shifting that the hourly based pricing might shift to more like value based pricing, as like as you mentioned, Lars, that like a lot of tools or objectives can be done with AI, or at least the perception of the customer can be that way, right? Oh, I could do that logo in 5 minutes with Gemini or something. Yeah, that's interesting, and I think Mike, it would be great to add from your perspective because you work with also lots of customers, and you might have felt that that's actually true or not. And of course, Mike
Yeah,
is based in the
I've
West. So you
seen
have the
that.
newest technology.
Yeah, right. Hopefully, maybe. But I've seen that. In fact, I was talking to Lightricks. They're a video editing software, and they had partnered with the American Marketing Association to survey marketing executives and agency owners. And the results that they found were even more staggering than what you shared earlier. A much higher percentage of executives were using AI, whereas the rest of the organizations were trailing really, really far behind, which I think is really important in telling for marketing agency owners in particular. Y'all need to be helping your folks get on board with AI. You need to have policies in place, which we can talk about. You need to have access to everybody in the organization provided to a particular LLM. Gosh, if you're already using Google Workspace anyways, you've got access to Gemini, and then give them training so that they understand how they can use that in their own day-to-day role. We can talk about client facing work.
Yeah.
That's separate, but internally to build those efficiencies and help your entire organization grow, everybody should be using AI.
I couldn't agree more, I guess. I think we have crossed that. I think everyone should at least start exploring. I think that's definitely where the world is shifting. We want it or not. And I think it would be great to add from your guys' perspective, what do you feel? What types of AI or what kind of tools you already are using for agents, or maybe you heard your friends, if because you spend also a lot of time in likewise friends. So what do you guys think, Robin, Lars? I think that would be great to hear it from you guys.
Yeah, so we use quite a few tools over here. We're pretty deep into Claude.ai. That's one I highly recommend, as well as Perplexity. And one of the things that we found is the team subscriptions. I really, really encourage other agency owners to make sure that you're getting the team subscriptions so that you have protected spaces. So the queries that you're running, the prompts that you're inputting are in a protected space, and you're protecting not only the business and your agency, but you're protecting your clients as well. We're experimenting with quite a few more. We're evaluating what our AI tech stack is going to be, but one of the recent ones that we're exploring is Hey Gen, which is creating videos like avatar videos.
Oh, right.
And by the way, some of those start out pretty trippy looking, if I'll be honest. But it's great to have talking heads. We're no longer filming in studios with green screens behind us. But that's a cool tool. The other one that we're looking at right now, and I believe you pronounce it Gamma, which is converting documents into Canva presentations. So that's both for us and for our clients too. So. And one of the other things I'll note, for those of you that are responding to RFPs, I highly recommend Perplexity, because you can train Perplexity and you can load former RFP responses into the system so that they can see, so Perplexity can see what you've responded in the past to similar questions. And one of the cool things about that, and I know I'm jumping ahead, Eustace, but
Yeah, that's all
it's
good.
really saved us like such a significant amount of time. I want to say, I mean, and this is just an example, like an RFP response that would take us 100 hours to be able to write and create, compose, edit, proof, all of those things was taking us around 100 hours. And we've cut it in half and gotten it down to almost 40 hours.
That's
So
amazing.
it's been just a lifesaver, and from a productivity and efficiency standpoint, and it's creating something really spectacular, surprisingly, which has been fun to see.
And I think from the perspective of like what you mentioned about RFPs, I think it's a very clear value what you get
Yeah.
in one way. But I think you said also it's great to save time, for productivity. But I think it just helps your mental well-being a bit, because if you spend a
Yes.
lot of time for preparing an RFP, I think that actually it just a bit of a intense on yourself if you need to prepare even a few of them, and if you
Yes.
can get
RFPs are
back.
not for the weak.
Exactly, exactly. So I think that's a great tip. And we heard also like HeyGen for avatars and video. We heard Claude for general purpose and writing, I guess, and Perplexity for research. What do you guys use? And Lars, maybe you can chip in and mention something
Yeah, well, what
additional.
I because there are like tons of tools, and I think every day like millions of tools are being released around AI. But what I like about AI is that you can use it to become better at other tools as well. So what we are really trying to explore at the moment is simply using like ChatGPT, like in my opinion, the
Yeah,
basic AI what everybody knows or has access to. But with ChatGPT, become better at scripting, Google App Script, Google Ad scripts as well. Like we have like tons of ideas for clients that we want to do, but we don't know how, or it's like really time consuming. And with AI, we can say, hey, this is our client, this is the case that we are having, and this is what we would like to do. Do you think it's a good idea? And if so, how could we do it? And then ChatGPT just comes up with, hey, you can use Python for this one. Here is how you could use it. You need to download this. This is the steps that you need to take. And that's like really educational to become, like I said, more efficient in what we are doing, but also become better at what we are doing for our clients. So if I could like suggest one tip for AI tool, I would
yeah,
simply say use ChatGPT to become better at things that you uh, don't have knowledge for yourself, like scripting or Java scripting, Python scripts, and stuff like that. If I do need to mention one tool that Robin hasn't already mentioned, is a tool Cursor. I don't know if you know it, Justice, but
yeah.
as a Google Ad
For engineers,
specialist,
right?
yeah. It's a really nice tool. You could build really cool things with no knowledge about scripting or something like that. So, for example, like internally we've got some juniors coming in, and we have to train them to become familiar with Google Tag Manager and GA4 and stuff like that. And with Cursor I just built like a fake website with all the Google events in it, where I can implement Google Tag Manager in it and just hand it over to them and say, hey, go ahead, try test it for yourself. We build dashboards for our client in it. Yeah, it's a really amazing tool.
I
Yeah,
can second
Lars,
that
you bring
actually.
up a, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Robin. I just wanted just to add.
Lars, you bring up such a great point. I think be mindful about training the AI tools on your agency as well as your clients, like make them smarter, but that takes a little bit of an extra effort. But they are smart enough to be able to know, like isolating this particular client to say, here's their target customer, here are the solutions that they're offering, like here are their competitors. Know that that's a process and that takes a little bit of time. But wow, in the long run, that saves you so much time and makes you so much smarter.
Yeah, and within ChatGPT also, what we would like to do, because Robin, we aren't using the Teams function that you just mentioned, which is, you said it and I was like, oh, I should have known that. But what we would like to do is create custom GPTs for all of our clients, so that every client has their own GPT with who is my target audience, what is my tone of voice, and stuff like that.
And you can always come back to it, and
Yeah.
and you can also, but I think what you, Lars, started to talk about, especially about GPT and thinking of the ways, and it brings you the ideas, how to release or make some things. I think I think a good takeaway would be that AI sometimes can unleash your potential in some cases when sometimes you don't know how to implement maybe sometimes a crazy idea. And previously would say, okay, maybe next time I will do that. But I think now you can actually unleash your creativity and use AI as some kind of always colleague that you miss, which who knows everything, right? So I think that's kind of that partner on the side
Yeah,
sometimes.
well,
So that's
who
what I
tends
understood.
to know everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like when you are creating, for example, a Google Ad script, and then ChatGPT is saying, okay, here's your script, and then you implement it, and you get like tons of errors.
Yeah.
But the fun thing is, you could really just copy paste those errors back to ChatGPT and saying, hey, this is the error that I've got. Could you solve it for me? And then it solves itself. So yeah, that's a really nice feature.
But all right, while we are in the building, so I can also chip in a bit. So you can even go one level up, and you can go into Bolt New or Replit. There's plenty of others, but actually you can, without even cursor things, because cursor is a bit advanced if you know coding.
Yeah.
But if you are a bit entry level, as most of us hopefully, or maybe just I am the entry level, so you can actually start with the Bolt New or Replit, so you can actually mention things in the text. And I think, of course, getting an end result from them is too much to expect. But I think it's a great thing for prototypes, for testing things with the customer, bringing wireframes to life, sending that to the customer. What do you think about this kind of structure? I think that's also a great tip on actually how to improve a bit of your workflow, right? So you can quicken the time from the project to a bit of a getting to life. And Mike, what you would love to add on that? I think you're definitely the most experienced on these ones. So maybe you have some also additional tips.
Yeah, I have a great recommendation for agencies, building on a lot of what Robin was just talking about. Because I know one of the major issues with any AI user today is, okay, which tool do I use? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Gemini? Is it Claude? Is it Perplexity? I don't even know. Some are better for some tools and tasks, and others are better for other things. And then you have this added complexity as an agency of wanting to separate out what you're doing for different kinds of clients. So Magi is the tool I recommend. I'll drop the link in the chat, Magai. And Magi, first and foremost, is a wrapper for all the LLMs. So you go into Magi, you start a new chat, and you could choose to use ChatGPT, or you could choose to use Gemini, or DeepSeek, or any of the LLMs you want, which means if you start to learn that certain LLMs are better for certain kinds of tasks, like most of us would agree Claude is better for writing, that's great. You could start by using ChatGPT or Gemini to build strategy, and then shift to using Claude for the actual writing within the same chat without having to actually go back and forth between the different tools. And then you can create, as an agency, different workspaces for different clients. So you
All
can
right.
upload all kinds of knowledge documents, create personas inside of Magi, which are the same as custom GPTs or Gemini gems. And you can have those like Lars was talking about, one for audience, one for voice, one for different roles within that client, whatever you need to have kind of sequestered inside these different workspaces. And then I love that Magi, from a security perspective, automatically blocks all the interaction, all the data that you're doing from going back up to the LLM. Something that a lot of people don't realize is your conversations with the LLMs can potentially be used to train the next iteration of the LLM, which means if you're giving it data about yourself, about your clients, you might be passing that on to future iterations of the LLM, which is just not a good idea. And so Magi will keep all of that sequestered for you, and you can have a team use all of it. So that's the tool. Actually, I'm using it all day, every day myself, and I'm just as a user, but I've talked to many agencies, and that solves so many of their issues when it comes to which tool do I use.
And I think it's a great addition. I think you get one bill, right? So you don't need to buy
That's
a lot of tools,
true.
right?
It's $20 a month, and you get paid access to ChatGPT, Gemini, all of them,
That's cool. That's a great addition. Actually, I need to try it out myself.
right?
All right, that's very much I think great summary of what we should be using for a day-to-day operation. And what do you guys think in terms of like how do we see the AI affecting the future job roles like within marketing agencies? Will it change the skill sets required? Is it going to be nobody will need employees anymore? Is going to be only one man or woman show in agency who's owning it and that's it, or is it going to be like what? So what's your let's play a bit of future tellers. Lars, what do you think?
It's probably an open door, but you've got these stories and articles talking about how AI is taking over our manual work.
Yeah.
And my point of view, and it's not a spectacular point of view. I think like the majority of the audience maybe has it or hopefully has it. But in my opinion, if you don't use AI, yes, AI will replace you. Uh, but if you start using it, you will become better at your job. That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm not looking at AI as like a threat, like hey, AI is taking over my job. No, I'm really seeing it as an opportunity to become better at what we are doing. And the same applies with smart bidding, how it came up with Google Ads, and everybody was like, oh, smart bidding is taking over manual bidding, and Google Ads specialist has no job anymore. No, that's not true. You need to know how you could work with it and how you should let smart bidding become like a tool to make more money out of your Google Ads account. And I think the same applies with AI. You need to know, or at least develop a feeling about how AI could benefit, how you could like let AI benefit to become better at your job. That's how I'm looking at it.
I think that's a very in my point of view most likely case. That's actually I think basically not AI is going to take your job, but actually a person with AI is going
Yeah,
to take your job, right?
yeah.
And Robin, what's your take on this one?
I 100% agree with you, Lars and Eustace. Like that is, the people that are going to excel are the ones that really lean into AI and think of it as an advantage, a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And, here my team thinks of it as a team of strategic advisors. All these AI tools that we're leaning into are helping to make us smarter. One thing I would encourage you all to do that we're doing here is oftentimes proving hypotheses wrong. Like if we have a strategic direction that we want to take, and then we'll load it into one of the systems and then ask this, break this, blow this up, tell me how this is wrong, or tell me what I'm not thinking of. And then from the creative standpoint, our creative, both our creators, our creative designers and our copywriters are leveraging it. So the copywriters, it's great for, writer's block and coming up with ideas and a framework. And adding that human element, whether it's a blog or it's an ebook or it's a white paper, like it still needs the human to go back in and help insert tone of voice or that emotional connection that is required for us to be able to connect with our prospects and our clients. And then from a designer standpoint, I'm shocked at how efficient it's making our designers and how much more creative, like come up with another crazy idea as you know, and it helps us go down rabbit holes that maybe we wouldn't have considered before because it's new ideas. So I think, you know, to Lars's point, like really lean into it and just know that it's additive to you and it's going to make you smarter, more creative, more strategic, and therefore be able to resonate with your audiences better.
100%. Mike, do you have something to add on this one?
I do. Just to take it a little more high level for a moment, very recently, the World Economic Forum suggested that within the next 5 years, 92 million jobs will be lost or displaced or need to upskill. But they also said within the same time frame, 170 million new jobs will be created, and this is all due to AI, which means there'll be a net gain of 78 million jobs. But that still means 90 million people are going to need to figure out something else for their future. And that's because the reality is AI is going to start to do things that people were doing yesterday. We're in the fourth industrial revolution, so this is the fourth time as a society this has happened to us. We don't need people walking up and down the streets lighting gas lamps anymore. Those jobs are gone. Same thing today. A lot of the data entry, manual, repetitive kinds of things that people are being paid to do today, they're not going to need to do tomorrow. And so as agencies, we need to be thinking about what are those tasks, what are those roles today? And this goes back to the original point of making sure that we're training and giving everybody access to AI, because if we don't prepare them, and if we don't prepare our own jobs in our own companies, a lot of those jobs we're not going to need. And if we haven't taken the time to really think through, it's going to come at a faster pace than what we would like, and people are going to be literally left behind. They're going to be laid off, or we're not going to have roles for them. So taking the time today to think about, well, what are some things that the people in my organization could be doing tomorrow if they had an extra 10 or 15 hours per week? What could they do? How could we unleash their creativity, their strategic mindset? How could we get them thinking 6, 12, 18 months down the road? Because I don't know if you guys are like me, but in the past, it was a real challenge for me to think 6 months ahead because I was so immersed in my day-to-day activity. I did not have time. I did not have the bandwidth to think, what would my 2026 look like? What would my 2029 look like if I could think that far ahead? You know, if you're the CEO and your executive committee, okay, you've got time to decide to think that far ahead, but most of us don't. So that's something AI is going to free us up to do, in my opinion, and the kind of thing that organizations should be preparing their entire organization to be moving towards.
I agree, and I think I also like to bring a bit more. I don't want to say that we were negative, but just to bring a bit more positivity. I think the general aspect of AI, I think it will bring, because what I thought earlier, I think AI just made everyone equal in kind of today's setting, in terms of especially agencies and businesses. Everyone has, you know, different rules now, which we need to play around. And and as the time goes by, everyone will learn how to use it for sure, as we learn how to use mobile phones and etc. And I think when we will be more kind of equal on a basic level, because AI, I think, will take a lot of basic jobs and tasks, you know, which we are currently doing. For example, RFP proposals or something, you know, so we will not need to make them anymore. So you will, for example, the agency will not be distinguished by just, you know, oh, I was able to answer RFP and another wasn't, so that's why I won the you know, the proposal. And I think what will bring the leverage is actually creativity, uniqueness, your professionalism, I think, in the ways how you run the projects. I think that will even more stand out. And actually, the agents who are very much creative and looks into their job very much seriously, not just like some random agency which is being run just to make money and scale as much as you can, you know, to thousands of customers and sell the same. But I think if you're very much creative and bringing great value to your customers, it's going to be easier to do so. And I think but actually winning customers will be a bit more easier for you. And I think that was also confirmed by Sam Altman today with his blog post, founder of OpenAI, and he said, like, so some operational things are going to get cheaper and cheaper in the time, but I think the luxuries are going to be way more luxury and way more expensive eventually. So some things will get more expensive, some things will get cheaper, and I think that's where we're heading. So that's I think that's nice to finalize that, a bit of an operational part. And I would also love, because I'm very much interested in data and how you guys also analyze things. For me, it's also very much interesting to hear your thoughts on how you use, for example, AI, or you don't, for analysis and for performance insights in general. Do you do something about it? Robin, maybe we can start with you on this one.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys all a trick that one of my colleagues taught me, and it's pitting the systems against each other. When you're analyzing data, like I'll drop something into Claude, and I'll ask Claude to do an analysis of what I'm seeing and the data that I'm evaluating. And then once the answer is spit out of that, I'll drop it into Perplexity. And so I go back and forth, so that they're kind of dueling against each other,
Yeah.
to give me what I think is really a true assessment of the situation that I'm analyzing. So, know that treat them like people, essentially, where you're pitting them against each other. And have you thought of this? And then adding to that, within each of the prompts that I'm using. The other way that we're using it, that may be useful for you all, is we're using a system called Airtable. And it's aggregating a lot of the data from our project management system and incorporating it with our Intuit QuickBooks systems. So it's helping with things like billing and utilization, and analyzing that data. But I know that Airtable leverages AI to be able to analyze that data. So I'm not doing a lot of it, and my director of workflow optimization is not doing it manually. He's able to do that and pull data from different systems using a system like Airtable, which has been fascinating and created so much efficiency on this team with really, and I don't know how you all feel about this, but it's like painstaking detail to this data, this critical data that we need to have in order to be profitable.
It's interesting that nobody's very much interested in analyzing the data, but it's always critical, right?
Right?
So I think this is the beauty of AI, right? So we can actually quicken to the insight with AI without doing the hard job, right? Lars,
Yes.
what's your take on this one? I know a bit about it, but I think
Yeah, I think I've got two really good examples. So we've got a client who is selling like mosquito nets. And of course, you've got the feeling, okay, when there's this type of weather, they probably are selling more mosquito nets. But you need to make sure that your hunch is right. So what we did is we gathered all the data from Google Ads, the backend system, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, connected with Open Weather API, and just send it over to AI and start analyzing it. And then AI came up with, okay, when there is this type of weather with these amount of sun hours or moisture level, then you are selling like this percent more. And based on that information, which was, you could analyze it yourself, but AI is probably quicker with it. And let's be honest, it's more fascinating to say that AI did that work for you.
Yeah.
But based on that, we copy it to ChatGPT saying, okay, this is the analysis that we've made about the selling that we are doing based on the weather that is in that country. What can we do about this one with online marketing? And then AI come up with like a script in Google Ads with adjusting campaigns, budgets, ROAS settings based on the weather that Open Weather API was telling us what it would be for the next coming days. So that's like a really good example, I think, of how you could use AI to do some data analysis for you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, other one that's really nice as well is when you combine AI with Google Cloud functions. So Google Cloud has also a machine learning possibility in it, and you could just enter your Search Console data, your Google Analytics data, data from APIs like RFs, for example. It's the SEO tool. And you could just say, okay, this is the data of my website or from my client. This is the data that I have for some competitors. And based on what you are seeing in this data, could you make a forecast about what my position will be in the next days, weeks, months, maybe even years? How much traffic will that client get from those positions by looking at the data from the competitors as well? And that will give you a really nice overview that you can send over to your client saying, hey, with the information that we are having from you and the competitors, AI is telling us that will be the prediction for the next coming months. So we need to step our game up. And I think, yeah, those are things that are really difficult to do manually, and AI is really a nice feature in that one.
And I think what you also mentioned about, especially those, for example, mosquito nets. So all these analyses were already made with long time ago for big consumer brands, who have big budgets for products. I don't know, let's say ice cream or something, right? So they were able to have 15 analysts to analyze the data and find the tricks. And for, I don't know if it's a big company or not, but for example, mosquito nets, I still believe they're not like the large worldwide organization, who are selling worldwide. And doing this kind of analysis wouldn't make any sense, to just spend 15 people 2 weeks time on analysis. And I think now you can actually leverage that with AI and actually apply a big kick-ass research on sometimes even small products and actually do that. So basically it brings a lot of leverage for the small ones. So I think that's what I mentioned in the beginning, that I think it just a bit aligns the game rules for everyone. And I think that, again, the creativity works, right? So of course, if you will not come up with that idea, you will never learn about it. But yeah, and I think this is where we're also working with WaterGov on that direction. So we want to enable teams to have analysis, and actually, I had the bold idea in 2021. I said, like, everyone should be able to be a data scientist eventually. So everyone was laughing at the time. And I think now it's coming literally a bit more reality, and with AI and enablement within us, so you are actually able also to analyze data as quick as a few seconds. So that's, I think, a great share by you, Lars, and I think everyone can get that inspiration how to analyze data, and especially on the Robin side, I think how to analyze internal performance data and analyze from where the profits are actually coming. And Mike, it would be lovely to hear, from your side, because definitely I think in Agora Pulse you also learned a lot, and you could definitely mention something also, how to apply AI and actually the performance insights.
Well, you said it best before, Eustace, where you said, we all need to analyze data, but most of us, if we're being honest, don't want to analyze data. That's not something fun for us, which is why, so for folks who are using Agorapulse, they can open the mobile app and get AI generated insights on their social media performance and have a conversation back and forth and learn, how are they doing on social media. But for those of you watching, I had a conversation with Andy Crestadina on the AI podcast last year. And if you know Andy, he's one of the preeminent content marketing and search gurus, and it was a very mind-blowing conversation for me. But one of the things that I loved he talked about was that as humans, we are not good at seeing what's missing. The highlight game notwithstanding, we're really not very good at looking at a bunch of information, a lot of data, and understanding what's gone or what is a gap. So he said with AI, you can do a content gap analysis, and you might have a client who's got a website with hundreds, maybe thousands of pages and blog posts published on different topics. I've been writing since 2011. I've got over 1,000 articles on my own site. I, as the person who wrote all those, could not tell you what haven't I written about. AI can do that in moments. You can drop a spreadsheet into ChatGPT and say, hey, based on our target audience, what are some of the topics or questions we haven't yet addressed? and give yourself a really robust list of things to talk about or to have your client talk about or work with them on a project. And I think one of you were talking about how, this frees up so much time. Yes, but this also enables us maybe to pursue, to your point, just this services or client-facing projects that we might not have done before. That might have been something that was out of
Yeah,
scope because before that would have taken somebody 10 or 15 hours of analysis to do. And you might be working with clients where that was probably not in the budget, but gosh, if that's something you could deliver to them within an hour and add that on as a new project, that might be a really interesting use case.
I couldn't agree more, I think. And when we would go into the most important, I think, summary, how all those things and all AI implementation and experiments within your agencies and your daily lives, what kind of cost savings or time savings you guys got so far? And maybe that's going to be a bit of a guesstimate, right? But would be great still to understand a bit. So we heard from Robin, right? So on RFPs, half of the time at least costs. So I think in most of the agencies, hourly rates is about 100, 150 sometimes. So that's pretty big number, I think, what you can save per one RFP. And maybe you can add additional savings or I don't know, maybe that's sometimes not even savings. Maybe that's more cost, but actually it's saving people's a bit of a headspace from doing something not very much fun.
Yeah, I would add in addition to the RFPs, I would say my team is 15 to 20% more efficient than they were before.
That's nice.
Just given having these tools at their fingertips, being able to create a plan in a Google Doc and then be able to spit it out into a Canva presentation, is amazing. I mean, the fact that we can do that so quickly is literally incredible.
Amazing. So I think 30%, I think it's crazy lot. That's great. Lars, what about you?
I really have no clue. I really would like to know, and I would
Only expense. Only expense
You
I
should
would be
ask
re-
AI.
I would be really happy to hit the 20% as well, but no, I really don't have a clue. For example, the client that we were talking about earlier with the mosquito nets, we maybe it's financially not the smartest move from our side, but we managed to save hours because the script was running like the campaign's target settings and campaigns on or off, which saved us like 5 to 6 hours every month. And we arranged with the client that those hours could be transferred to media budget so that we could push more money into the campaign. So yeah, I also, what I could have done, which was probably financially more smart, is to not do that and like save the hours. But yeah,
Yeah, save
I
your
really
money, Lars.
But
I really have no clue.
But I think from the customer perspective, if I would have an agency who just brought me that kind of, really smart process, I think, I would never switch the vendor.
Let me after the show, I will give you his telephone number. Maybe you could tell him yourself.
Yeah, I should. I think we can send the recording definitely to them. All right. And Mike, what do you think in your case?
Well, in my
Like,
personal
at
case,
least
I'm
personally,
saving
right?
hours a week. Yeah, hours a week. I have 4 podcasts at Agorapulse, and I was spending 2 hours researching every guest, created a custom GPT, and turned that to 20 minutes per guest per show. So I'm already saving tons of time in that one example. And then the agencies that I talk to are the same way. Every time they find a use case within the organization where their staff can use AI, even if it's just on a very specific task, those things compound, right? Like a great example you guys kind of hinted at before was that you can use AI today to brainstorm and create prototypes for clients, for logos, for video scripts and storyboards. I mean, just imagine all the back and forth you might save by just prototyping a logo using,
Yeah.
AI, and then, get it to, it's basically there, and then you hand it over to the designer, and the designer formalizes it and makes it a vector graphic and beautiful and everything. Instead of 10 revisions, it's 2, and it takes seconds instead of multiple days. And to Robin's point, save so much headache. I mean, nobody wants to go back and forth with the client on revisions. Nobody asked for that. Let's
And
save
especially,
ourselves some trouble.
when the customer, when you're working, for example, on the logo, because, I remember that from my old days when I had marketing agency myself. It used to be like, I want a logo which has, roof on the top and sun on the below, and there's a flower on the right. You do exactly what they mentioned, and actually it's no, it's not like that. It's different. So actually they can, voice it over to GPT and get like 15 quick iterations of it. So yeah, so I think that actually on every front, and I think don't forget to be creative in the process and try to sometimes really ask the question to GPT or whatever you use it, to just try to knock that down, that task. And of course, sometimes I found myself in instead of spending 2 minutes on a task, I spent 25 minutes playing with GPT to get the task done. So that also has some downsides sometimes. But yeah, all right, guys. So I think it would be great time now to switch to a very quick Q&A. If we have any questions from the audience, there should. Oh, I see it's happening. So we have the first one, which was submitted a very long time ago. Should you have custom GPTs for clients, their systems, rather than the agents' systems for ownership and data security? So I think the question is, should you have the account within the customer, let's say ChatGPT, as a team member? Robin, maybe I think you had
Yeah,
the
great
most experience
question.
with that.
And the answer is no, you don't have to. You don't have to have it in their instances. You can build your own workspace for your clients within your own system, and it's still protected. It's still, there's a wall around it, so you don't have to worry about leakage of information and queries and prompts that you're creating.
That's good. Thank you, Robin. And there's another one. Do clients care whether you are using AI or do they just want results?
So I have strong opinions about this. If you have government clients, particularly in the US, I would imagine Europe is similar. Like there's a hard no on AI. So, back to what I was saying before, like make sure you have absolute clarity from your clients on whether or not they allow you to use AI. And I strongly recommend you put this in writing because, and it's interesting with our clients because we have both enterprise clients and then mid-sized clients. Our enterprise clients are like, absolutely not. And if you are using AI, you have to use it within our environment. And then we have some clients that are like, I don't care. I'm all about, my marketing should be impacting revenue. So therefore, whatever the hell you guys are doing, like keep doing the thing. If it gets me there smarter, faster, and I can show impact.
That's nice. I think that's I think very great to have an addition about, especially government, because sometimes you need to be really cautious about, especially when you work with those, because not. And I think I wouldn't love to get into a bit of an argument in the US and about the policy things.
Yeah, and what's ironic is they are using AI, but it's
I
their
bet.
external partners and vendors are not. So I don't know.
Yeah. Lars, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It depends on the client. Some clients just really like to focus on the results and they really don't care how you've done it. Those are probably the type of clients that you don't have to report to as well, or when you do, they don't read them. They just like, okay, this is what I've spent. The business is going well, so thank you. Unfortunately, those clients are also present. But yeah, I tend to explain to the clients, hey, we've got this idea. We think it could work. We need AI to do this. This is the possible outcome that we are thinking of. Are you okay with testing this? And these are like the pros, and this could be the cons, so that the client knows upfront what we are doing and what the possible results could be. But it's all about transparency with your client, I think.
Agree. We have another one, which is very much technical. Which AI tool would you use to create social media ad sets?
Ad sets. I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question right, but we like to work with Hunch. I'm not sure if people know that tool, but Hunch is able to, based on feeds or spreadsheet is able to come up with really nice creations, and it is connected with the at least Meta marketing API right away. So I think Hunch would be my best answer to this one.
And Robin, do you have any?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. I'm gonna have to try that one, Lars. That's super interesting.
Yeah,
Right, so
it's a really nice tool.
Mike, do you heard any?
Yeah, well, I would toss in that I would start with ChatGPT or Gemini, making sure that I had a custom instruction like a custom GPT or a gem that understood my target audience and use that to strategize what the ad campaign was going to look like. And then I would shift to Claude that has already been instructed with my voice and brand style to actually craft the content of the ads. Because then that system, you could then plug those ads into whatever platform you wanted, not necessarily just Meta.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much, guys. So Hunch was the tool, and GPT as a general, I think where it works everywhere, right? So that's good. We have another question from Adam Cox. How are you staying agile and preventing vendor lock-in, given how fast things are moving? I hope that's vendor lock-in of AI tool, I guess, or I don't know. I hope so. But I think, I can also answer that one. I think usually most of them, the generic ones, I think they're not very much locking you in. And the small ones or like wrappers, I think it's a different story. I don't know if someone has another opinion. I think that's pretty an easy one. All right. And that's a good one. How did you adapt your payment model for agency services to AI? So how to match I don't know, it is actually payment for your services.
If it
Yeah.
is, Robin, you go first.
Yeah, so this is we're debating this over here at Catalyst because there is the perception that AI should make things cheaper. And I don't know that the marketplace, if that's true. We haven't tested that, so we're exploring different ways. So great question. When I have the answer, I'll get back to you on that one. But we are exploring, given the tools and the subscriptions that we do need to get, like we are moving more into a retainer type model. In the past, we have been project based. And so this just allows us, which is great for agencies. So I think there's an opportunity there for us to have more of a, monthly reoccurring revenue and retainer models with these types of systems and support.
All right. Thanks for that. I'm just minding the time, so I'm gonna speed it up. There's a very good one. How did you figure out how to make AI work for you and how to implement it? Was it just through exploring it? For example, I'm looking at Airtable and it looks really interesting, but pretty complex.
Mhm.
So I think to simplify the question, I think how do you come up with ideas how to use the solutions in a day-to-day operation?
Just do it.
Yeah, so over here, I mean, it's like the wild, wild west, truly. And I think the more knowledgeable you can become, the faster you can do that. It's going to work in your favor. We're all doing it. There's no like silver bullet right now. So I think, really leaning onto peers and to experts and designating someone on your team as the AI expert, getting some external coaching. I mean, Mike's a great resource for everybody in his podcast. So I think just show yourself some grace. Like this is pretty overwhelming, not just for you guys, but for us too. So show yourself some grace and just keep exploring and, and spending time every day getting smarter about AI.
Yeah, Robin's
Agree.
absolutely right. Tap into peers and colleagues, follow podcasts or YouTube channels, and start exposing yourself every day for just 10 or 15 minutes to how other people in roles like yourself are actually using AI, because that's going to give you ideas. One of the big challenges with AI is it's not a tool. It's not Canva, where if you'd never used it before, I'd say, it's a tool to create images, and you know what Canva is without ever having opened it. AI is a technology, and so we have to wrap our brains around how can it be used, and the best way to do that is to expose ourselves to use cases.
And I think don't be afraid to ask AI itself.
Yeah.
It can also answer those questions. And Lars, maybe you have any tips on how to actually get it
No,
going?
I really love the answers from Mike. Just do it for like 15 minutes a day. But then you've got the problem, well, at least that's my problem. When I'm starting with it, I'm seeing loads of possibilities, and the 50 minutes become an
Yeah,
hour and a half, and hour and a half become 3 hours, and that's a bit of a problem on my side. But yeah, just do it. Start doing it. Try and error.
I think that's a very good suggestion. And I have one comment from Meredith. Will we cover AI tool within the water graph? We will not in details. You can definitely find it online, but we actually can analyze all your data in one place with AI. So actually, it goes directly to your data, and you can natural language ask a question: what's the best performing ad set, or which channel performs the best across your all channels? So you can just go in and check it out. And to finalize today's fireside, it was, I think, a lot of great ideas shared, but I would love to hear one takeaway per one of you guys. What's your main takeaway from this fireside chat, or maybe overall from AI? So you can just pick anything else. So let's start with Mike.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, well, my personal takeaway is I need to start looking more into Cursor and some of those kinds of tools because I actually used to be a programmer and haven't done any kind of development. And this is why I enjoy not just being a part of, but just attending other sessions like this because I get exposed to other tools and use cases that other people are using. And I thought that was a great idea.
Thanks for that, Robin.
Mine is, I have two real quick. AI, think of it as your strategic advisor. It's another team that you've added to your arsenal. The second thing is know that you're going to at least put in 5 prompts. Never expect a great result after the first prompt.
That's a very good one. I love it. Lars.
Well, the tool that Mike mentioned, Magi, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's a new one for me. So that could be a huge win for me on this fireside chat. And what I would like to give to the audience, if you're not testing with it, start playing with it. Like we mentioned before, AI is not taking over your job, but people who are using AI are. So better make sure to be one of them.
I couldn't agree more. And I think for me, the takeaways are definitely one more professional one. So definitely play around with all of them. Check it out. Check which one fits the best for you, which you feel the best with. And the second takeaway, which I found out, I don't know, it was some kind of thing what I was used to do with any kind of conversation. You don't need to say can you when you type something. For example, I used to say in ChatGPT, can you make an analysis? So yeah, it can. So avoid the polite words, just go straight away to the task. So yeah, so that's I think a great wrap. Thank you guys very much for sharing a bit of your time while not playing with AI.